Welcome back to Guitar Channel, everybody. My name is Todd Taylor. Thank you so much for joining us here. Today is one of the first acoustic demos that we get to do for you today. I'm not talking about the guitar. We are very thankful that we have a relationship with Sonicake. Okay, so what I'm talking about today is a very cool pedal called the Sonic Wood. These are about yay long, and they have 4 different effects in them. It was the rock stage that we did prior to this, and today's the Sonic Wood. It's basically the same pedal. It looks identical as far as the layout is concerned, and as far as the effects are concerned actually too. So we're dealing with 4 different effects. Going from left to right would be reverb, delay, chorus, and the preamp. Okay, so this is very specifically for acoustic players that are going to be in a live setting. I'm just going to go through a bunch of stuff that we can play with this thing. Good to know is that it's just a 1/4 inch input. That's this type of guitar cable. And then obviously you can do 1/4 inch out, but you can also do XLR out, which is the microphone cable. And that can go either into another amp or like an acoustic amp, which is what we're using here, is a Roland Chorus AC60, I believe. And it has an input either for a microphone, or you could use something like this as your preamp into that. Yeah, so very, very cool looking pedal. And once again, I'll say it again, it's a rugged housing. These things are very well built. They have density to them, and I feel like they are going to be quite sound over the years. Okay, easy to use little knobs. You do have to get down there and I think maybe put your glasses on, because I think that might be the only thing that I would like to see is a little bit more obvious, is the layout of what each one of the control dials is used for. Anyway, so that piece that I just opened up with there, call that the Whiskey Jack, it's one of my original tunes. That was completely dry, that sound right there. There's no reverb, there's no effects happening. You can get those things in the amp sometimes, like in this setting. I know they're on that amp, but we've made it completely dry. Everything on the amp here is at noon, flatline. And that's kind of what I've done here to some degree on this old Takamine that we're using for the demo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play some of the same stuff I just played there, and we'll start adding the effects as we go along. You can understand what this thing does for you. Okay, so I'll start off with just dry again. Okay, completely dry. I'm going to turn the reverb on now. It looks like we're kind of around 9:30, 10 o'clock, okay? There it is. So I'm intentionally stopping, making it very obvious so that you can hear the reverb the way it decays. It's a good way to hear it too. Sounds like you're in a bit of a theater sort of setting. Okay, so I'm going to crank it up quite a bit just to see how deep we can get with it. Right now we are getting up to 3:30, or about 3 o'clock. Okay, that's pretty deep. So then it actually starts to take on a life of its own sometimes when you have too much reverb. Really depends on what you're playing. Sometimes you play lighter. Helps with sustain. The notes tend to drag out longer, and it really gives you the impression like you are in a larger place, like a theater or possibly even a church or something along those lines. That's really nice. I like that a lot. I'm going to turn that reverb off just for 2 seconds because I want to turn it down a little bit. I'm going to go back to kind of where I was, okay? So I started off with just a little bit. It wasn't at its lowest setting, but I think you can get a real kind of, obvious idea of where the 2 differences are there. A little, enough to make it sound like you have some space, that you're in a larger room than what you might be, and it makes it a little wetter, is what they describe it as, and instead of the dry signal, which I had. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight, no reverb. I'm going to use the delay here, okay? So you can see how much is giving back to me. That's quite a bit. I'm actually going to just roll back off on the repeats, and a little bit on the time I'm going to speed it up a little bit. Blend, repeat, and time. So blend right now is about 9 o'clock. Looks like also so is repeat, and time is getting up into 10 o'clock zone. That's a really cool effect. I'm going to go for something a little more subtle here. Yeah, that is a nice touch. Once again, that gives you some nice space happening in combination with the reverb. Let's see what that is. Yeah, that's really cool. Anyway, I'm going to skip both of those guys for a second. I'm going to move on to the chorus now. Now what this does is gives you a bit of movement and almost a swirly, watery sound. As you probably already know. So the effects we have, or the adjustments on that, are the level, the depth, and the rate. So the rate is the speed that the swirl starts happening, and of course the depth is how much. That's a really cool sound. Andy Summers. Play some more of the Whiskey Jack. Yeah, very cool sound. So the only thing I haven't turned on here is what's called the preamp. That's the very far right of the pedal. So we're basically dealing with a volume control that you have control over before it gets to the sound guy, which is really nice. A lot of acoustic guitars don't have active pickups in them. It'd be a passive situation, and they often are lower in output. So when you have that scenario, it's nice to have a separate preamp that you can actually boost your signal that gets sent either to the amp or to the PA system. This is a huge help, and this is really where this pedal is going to shine, in my opinion. That's the one thing you definitely want to have, is be able to have some control to get some punch and some volume and presence on your instrument, especially when I say a passive pickup situation. Yeah, so let's turn that on, then turn it off. Now, I think I need to turn the volume up on this a little bit so we can get something comparable to what I had there, or maybe push it a little bit. Okay, so now I actually have the volume at about 3 o'clock. The bass here is at noon, and the treble is around 1 o'clock. I'm going to start putting on a few more now here, okay? I'm going to put the reverb on. So much fun, that sounds great. I'll put the delay on now. all on. There's some chorus going on here too. Turn that timing down a bit, prevent it from feeding back. So I've adjusted the delay here. We've got the blend is down to 9 o'clock, the repeat is down to 7 o'clock, and the time take the delay off now. So that was the bass frequency responding. So I'm going to take a little bit off my guitar, and I think if I take some off of the preamp as well, let's see if we can. That's a little better, right? Through A. The Sonicake Sonic Wood. That is the pedal that I've been playing here. This is a really cool device and an incredible value. The price point is outstanding for what we have in front of us here. So please do yourself a favor, have a look at Sonicake's website and see what all the good stuff they have. And thank you again for tuning in to Guitar Channel, acoustic side.